A very good evening to all the participants, to all the people who every Saturday tune in at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube for watching and listening to this discussion. And it's a lovely evening. And today, our topic for discussion is how to lead self. And in this pandemic, everybody is thinking about this term, that what about self, how to lead self, and what are the different aspects that are very important, very crucial while taking decisions of lifetime. And today we are very lucky that at MentorCart today we have very distinguished mentors with us who are going to guide us, who are going to lead us toward discovering ourselves, how to lead self. So yes, let me introduce today's mentors. Today, first of all, I would like to introduce our first mentor, Mr. Brandon, and he is CEO and co-founder of Believe It's Within. He has an experience of more than 18 years and is always focuses on skill enhancement and life coaching. Welcome, sir. And the second very important mentor that we today have is mentor Mr. A.T. Kishore, sir. He has more than 32 years of long professional experience in diverse fields, including aerospace, defense, and telecom. He brings with him disciplines such as Indian Air Force Technical Officer Profile, leadership roles played in world's leaders in OEMs of superior research caliber. So, we would like to first of all welcome our mentors. A very good evening to you both.
Thank you.
And uh, having said this, let us start with this today's topic. And the topic is pretty important with respect to today's parlance, today's topic. I mean, pandemic situation. So let me ask the first question to Mr. Brandon, and the question is pretty simple because I think the experience that he is putting onto this table. So, sir, what do you think you mean by saying that leading self?
Thanks, Swaroop, for that question. Very good evening to all the listeners out there who have tuned in. So, when we talk about leading self, in simple words, it means seeing yourself. I'm sure you must be wondering that we'd all do that every morning. I think that's
True.
an autopilot thing we do like every day. But I'm
Right.
not talking about seeing ourselves standing in front of the mirror. I'm
Mirror.
not talking about being vain. I'm talking about, when I talk about leading self, I'm talking about having a complete picture, a self mastery of
Right.
both your strengths and your weaknesses, and
Absolutely.
also understanding how you are currently using those strengths of yours to develop yourself and to achieve your results, to survive in the world today, which is full of uncertainties, complexities, and ambiguity.
True.
It's about having a clear, possible insight into yourself, your values, your preferences. What are those things that push you or derail you off path?
Absolutely.
Yes. And leading self is a wonderful, insightful journey of exploration. A
True.
time where you learn, you unlearn, and you relearn how to be relevant in the current time.
True.
It's about you learning to develop your inner game. It's a lifelong process, it doesn't
Absolutely.
stop. Okay.
True.
So, leading self is something that will be continuous. It doesn't stop immediately that I've learned this and that's done, because we live in a dynamic environment.
Absolutely.
Hence, it becomes important to understand our default interpersonal patterns.
Right.
What are our conflict styles? How do we prefer to behave, whether to receive, give, or to process information? And
True.
overall, it is more spending time to understand how we behave when the situations are not in favor of us,
Absolutely.
when there are disagreements. And as a coach, I truly believe that each of us have a positive core in us. And whatever we do We always do it with the positive intention, given the amount of resources we had available at that point of time.
Absolutely.
Yes. And since the intention is always positive, it is bound to have some effect on somebody or the other.
True.
That is what we need to be ready to accept. Because
Absolutely.
remember, as individuals, we are a mixture of strengths and weaknesses. All of
Absolutely
us
right.
sitting here are not perfect. We don't only have strengths, we also have weaknesses. When we
Absolutely.
talk about leading self, we're talking about embracing this, embracing that weakness, embracing that strength, and knowing how to work with it. That
True.
is what. When we lack that awareness of our strengths and we focus only on the negative, that is the time we continue to struggle in life. And there is where we get all the possible anxiety, depressions, and various other things.
True. Very
So, so you will ask me, what do you mean by strength? Now, when I say strengths, what I mean are the talents that you and I, all of us, have built up over the years by our skills, our knowledge, and our experience.
true.
It's
Absolutely.
something we gain every day in life. Every day we face different situations and we handle them. Those are our strengths. We need to be
Absolutely.
aware of them.
So,
And
Mentor
yeah,
Brendan, I would just like to, ask at the same time one question to our mentor Kishore also. Like when you said that leading self is a lifelong journey and it is about identifying our strengths, our core areas, core competencies. So I feel that you have to be very genuine, when you are finding out these things. Even if you are having a discussion with your mentor or coach, being genuine, it's very important. So I'd just like to ask one question to mentor Kishore. That's what are the traits of being a genuine person? What do you think?
First of all, thank you very much for MentorCart for organizing this, and I fell in love with the tool because it's so user friendly.
Right.
I encourage all the attendees to try it out. It's also given for free for a certain time, so you can get connected to the discussions that you have with great thinkers like Brendan and Swarup and myself in the lobby group. So first of all, to answer the question of what is meant by genuine person, I would like to touch upon a few people that every one of us know, like Abraham Lincoln of America, Buddha, Harishchandra, Rama, Bhishma, and the young lady Malala, who got Nobel Prize, who shared with another Indian, and Greta Thunberg. So these are all genuine people. And in fact, it's a surprise to many Indians that for the first time they heard about the Indian Nobel laureate who was helping the
Right.
children to come out of poverty. And so this is something that genuine people are actually not kind of attention mongers. And so Satyarthi is such a rare, genuine individual fighting for the poor children and helping for so working for humanity. So basically, for as an individual, now I assume that you are an individual trying to develop your skills and then apply them in your practical social applications. So basically, I suggest these things. Manasa Karmanya Vachana. What you think, what you speak, and what you act must be same, and
Okay.
you must use the same. Like if you, I'm a technical person, so I want to refer to, if you are a Linux, Unix, Solaris, Xenix person, you know, who am I? The machine responds. It's a simple question. But when it comes to us to answer that, it's more attributes than your name or more little bit about your community or
Right.
something. It's much more than the superficial mundane living things. There is a saying called Tattva Masi, the root of trust. The technocrats talk about the security paradigms that lies within you. In fact, to take Brendan's believe it's in you, that's good. I mean, that emphasizes that you are someone who you are representative of the whole cosmos, and everything is inside you. And if you are having that introspection, then you will be practically a genuine person where the world will look at you and it will be
True.
endearing to you to come to your to come to you for any solutions. I'm happy that my mentees are doing very good. They are established in the world today in the television market. If you see a person by name Nikki Kumar Jha, I mentored him, and he was picked up by United Nations as one of the 29 people to represent for one of the sustainable developmental goals. So this is what
Super.
gives me happiness and satisfaction that I mentored at least one individual. There are a few others.
Really nice.
I mentioned his name at this point.
Sir, at this point of time, I would like to ask one question to Mr. Brendan. That when you said about leading self, then there was a lot of emphasis given on try to figure out who you are and how you can achieve something in your life. So for that, I believe there has to be a success mantra of success. So do you think that self talk is that sort of a mantra for success?
Absolutely, Swarup. Self talk is that conscious inner voice that is every day providing us with a running monologue.
True.
It does become very, very crucial and critical. As they say, the way we speak to ourselves matters.
Matter.
It
Absolutely.
impacts our life,
True.
whether it's a cheerful, positive self talk or a self defeating or negative self talk.
Absolutely.
So, first and foremost, we need to understand what does self talk do. So,
True.
self talk basically combines our conscious thoughts with our unconscious beliefs and biases from the past experience, and then provides the brain with a way to interpret our experience. Now, taking that into consideration, it becomes very important to ensure that we have a positive self talk, a
True.
self talk that
Very
will
true.
calm our fears and our anxieties. Okay, I'm sure most of us, quite often than not, get this self talk which tells us, I can't do things right, I'm a complete failure,
Right.
or I'm not right, or like currently in the pandemic situation where you think that everything is going beyond your control.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So that becomes important to understand that we can get our self talk back. We can get it positive because self talk can be negative self talk can be of four types. One, where you personalize everything.
Right.
Everything going wrong, you keep blaming yourself. Second,
Most
you polarize, or
okay.
you
You
see
take it as
everything
problem.
either
Right.
as good or you
Or
see it
bad.
as bad. You don't
Absolutely.
see a gray area between it. The third way
Yeah.
I say is you magnify. You
Right.
focus at only the good or you focus at only the bad. Or the last one is where you create a catastrophe out of it, where you
Out of
think that
proportion.
yes, you
Right.
blow it out of proportion. So
Right. Right.
understand where you stand as individuals. What are you looking at? Okay, once you've
Absolutely.
understood that, you need to reframe yourself. Okay, I'll give you a few examples of how you can reframe yourself. We all face failures, we all face difficulty. What you could do is, if you face a situation where you're getting a negative self talk to yourself, try looking at it as, okay, I was attempting it. It takes courage to even attempt, and I'm
True.
proud that I did it. That's
Absolutely.
one way you can reframe. Another
True.
example you can talk about is saying that even though I know the outcome was not what I wanted, but what about all the things I learned about myself and about in the process? That is something that you can look at.
True. Very true.
Also look at it
So
as, yeah,
so at this point of time, I firmly believe that we are focusing on one aspect of an individual, what we call as being responsible. Because when we have any sort of personality, whenever we talk about decision making in our lives, whenever we talk about the perspectives, there is something that is very important. How responsible are we? So, Mentor Kishorji, I would like to ask you this question: that what do you think? What are the benefits of being a responsible person?
Thank you for the question. I would like to start with the story of Suzlan. Not many of you might have heard about it, but many of you might have been working in the power energy field.
So
Then it
long,
should
yeah.
be a very familiar name. So
Right.
there was a time when Switzerland borrowed a few power stations, wind power stations, and they were asking for power from the state government to
Okay.
help them to make certain material that goes into production of textiles. At one
Okay.
time, it so happened that state government supply was falling short of their production requirements.
Okay.
Then they asked the state government, they said, we cannot supply you the kind of power that you need. Then he
Right.
went back to the Switzerland and got support of them and deployed more of the wind power stations. And he called all the employees, I'm responsible as a CEO for protecting your salaries. So tomorrow onwards, you are no longer working for the business of the thread that gets into textile industry, but we are a power company. So that's the kind of a nature of being responsible. CEO
True.
has to think responsibly so that he is answerable to the people's salaries and it affects their lives. So
True.
how to do that? As Brenton started talking about the ideals of everyone need not be having all the qualities. So team that is together, everyone will achieve more. So
True.
to get into the topic of what are the benefits of being responsible, we need to have clearly articulated goals of life for a long term, which I can abbreviate as SMART. That is a specific, measurable, and achievable and real time targets that you can set as your goal post and start working towards them. So being responsible is towards others who may be impacted by your actions or your lack of actions also,
True.
for their progress or their targets to be accomplished through your support. As a leader of a company, you should be handling their volatile, vulnerable, uncertain situations where you should be able to handle and then help them to generate their income and protect their careers and their families. So do the right things all the time and not polluted by our own agenda, but more disciplined outlook of others' interest first. So keeping others' interest in the first premise should make you as a kind of a responsible person.
Wonderful, wonderful. Like what you have stated, there is something very interesting thing that you have just shared with everyone. That the story of Suzlon, it's really a remarkable story. And when we discuss about the story, you came to one more very important topic, and that is about adaptability. So my question to Mr. Brendan is my next question probably is based on this topic, that in this time of crisis, how important is being an adaptable individual? Mr. Brandon? Yeah.
Sorry.
Growing importance of being adaptable.
Yeah. So when we talk about being adaptable, we need to remember that change is the only inevitable. And the
True.
art of life lies in constant readjustment to the environment. The world out
Absolutely.
there is a jungle, okay? And to survive, adaptability does become very important. We need to be aware of our skills so that we can hone them in the right environment. And adaptability today becomes important in every aspect. If you
Right.
look at the time we are in, okay, with the pandemic, it does become very, very important to be adaptable today more than ever before.
Right.
And hence, when I talk about adaptability, I'm talking about two very distinct components. One is flexibility, and second is versatility.
Absolutely right.
Flexibility is all about the attitude. Am I willing to change? Am I willing to adjust? Whereas versatility comes down to my capability or my ability to do something. So it again comes down to the willingness and the ability.
Absolutely.
The moment we realize that we can or we are ready to change is going to be the time that we are going to get a lot of benefits. When you decide or you make up your mind to be more adaptable, your chances of growth in the professional arena is growing exponentially. You have a competitive advantage over the others because you are of the mindset that when a change or something doesn't go as per plan, it's okay. It doesn't bother you much. You're ready with a backup. You're okay with changing to this requirement. You make
Right.
faster decisions. You are
Absolutely.
able to have a higher level of confidence. You're able to bounce back from adversities.
True.
Being adaptable means being resilient.
Absolutely.
That means you spend less time trying to change the circumstances, but you spend more time to
Adapting.
adjusting your
True.
attitude towards what is expected.
True, true.
The moment
At
you
this
do
point of
that,
time, Mentor Brendan, I would like to share one thought. Like on Mentor Card, we have a detox section. So on this detox section, people can ask their doubts, and we have thousands of students every day asking a lot of questions. And on most of the occasion, I have figured out one thing, and I would like to put this question to Mentor Kishore, that how a mentor brings about a change in a mentee's life, or how a mentor helps a mentee drive themselves.
Once again, I would like to go to our mythology, which most Indians are familiar. Mentoring always happens, be it from mummy, daddy, or teachers. Uh, Acharya Devo Bhava, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. Mentoring always happens. Abhimanyu started to learn from the womb as per mythology. And we may really need real mentors to clear the confusion, like what happened, like Sri Krishna to Arjun in the battlefield,
Arjun.
to give him the sense of purpose and the determination to battle it out, come what may. Look at how the commander of Navy, Indian American Navy SEALs, in his for most liked talk in the YouTube, 123,000 likes. Navy SEALs commander, in his speech, he talks about how everyone, when you wake up, you make your bed yourself to get a sense of accomplishment of doing little tasks. So in my life with 30 plus years, I spent a number of 10,000 hours on several domains. I just list a few of them: 5G, UAV, IEEE standards, communications, power and energy, etc. So in these areas, I can help startups and mentor even
Okay.
engineering colleges in their establishing incubation centers and emerging technologies like AI, ML, big data analytics, cloud, and applications like predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, and how to derive actionable insights using sensors and use for intelligent manufacturing, etc. A mentor can support you in your journey, as you yourself may be missing on some of the checklist. Something as vital as following some rules of the company activities or filing mandatory returns on time as per the government or regulatory expectations. So a mentor can give you a motivation, like looking at the universe. Everything is in order, including Earth is a spacecraft actually floating. And if you look at the NASA International Space Station people, how much they are working up there and in the repairing some things, changing some modules there in the open in the International Space Station. So when you look at that, you derive inspiration. When you look back in your own life, count on all the blessings that you have and
Right.
see all those actions yours which resulted in positive results you wanted to accomplish. How are you
Absolutely.
able to do it in the past, and always have positive hopes for future also. A person needs a mirror that, as Brenton rightly said, speaks louder than amending many motivational or attending a lot of talks nowadays that we tend to simply hear and brush aside and continue doing what we do. A mentor can
True.
give you practical challenges that makes your journey, as I can give you an excellent example of the teacher student relationships. Like once you establish through mentor cart a relationship, maybe it is not just about 30 minutes or 1 hour, it may be for a few days. I can cite example of Guru Shishya Parampara even in Europe, like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and Alexander. So they everyone senior to them is a mentor to the junior. And in
Okay.
your own life, besides your own school, college, or university, or relatives, including parents, you may have someone who is guiding you on specific problem areas, like how to solve some critical business issue on manpower management, or how to solve conflicts at a project that is stalling the progress, etc. So this, I think, is the importance of a
Absolutely.
mentor. It can be
Right.
sometimes Narendra Modi when he speaks on radio. That can be your mentor. It just you need to identify who your mentor is. There can be many
True.
mentors and many subjects. So in mentor card, for every subject matter, there are experts.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said. On the same note, I would like to ask one question to Mr. Brendan. That a mentor is definitely is like a lamp who guides you to the darkness. A mentor is must when we talk about succeeding in our career. But do you think that asking the right question is also important? So, how should one ask right questions? Because I feel until and unless there is no clarity on what you want to know, person next to you cannot answer those questions.
On questioning, I think one of the best features we have on Mentorcard is the detox section, wherein I advise all who are listening, you can log into the app and ask your questions. Now, yes, questioning does become very important, and we've been doing it for ages now, and mostly on autopilot. But just remember, whenever you question someone, there is a spark which gets you to think, which leads you to start exploring. And that is what is important to remember. Yes, questioning plays a very important part, not only in our lives personally, but also professionally. So I
Right.
give you 4 C's for questioning. First, when you want to be relevant or have good questions, we need to ensure that the question is clear. It is free from any technical or ambiguous words, because if the question is unclear, you will spend time only
True.
discussing the question. So that's the
Absolutely.
first C. The second C, keep the question concise. Keep it
Concise.
short, because you want a desired response or a
Right.
desired act. So you need to understand that. Do not ask multiple questions together. Third, ensure that the question is complete. Complete in giving the audience or the person you are expecting a response a clear idea of what you want. And
Absolutely.
then the last C would be to have correct questions. Whether you're using an open ended or a close
Or
ended
close
question,
ended. True.
you know why you are asking a question. Do you want a yes no answer? Do you want somebody to express? Because remember that we are all different. We have different education backgrounds. We come from different environment. We come from different experiences. So it becomes very important to remember these 4 C's. That is, have a clear, have a concise, have a complete, and a correct question. So that, because when we do questioning, questioning does not stand alone on its own.
Right.
It needs to be accompanied by good listening, comprehension, and speaking skills. As
Absolutely.
questioning has the ability to organize thinking around what we do. So
True. Very true.
remember that it is important not to stop questioning. As successful people ask the right question to get better results.
Absolutely. So probably this is the first time every participant must have understood that even for asking question, we have certain things in our mind, and when we ask or we follow these forces, probably I won't forget these forces for rest of my life, because uh, absolutely well defined and well drafted. That when we ask question, there is a legitimate reason behind those question, and at the same time, we should have faith in that individual who is going to answer that question. If we have faith while asking question, probably we'll get answer to those questions. So when we ask question, probably we are proving some point or we want to understand something. So my next question is to mentor Kishorji, that in today's time, cutthroat competition full of uncertainties, uh, anxiety levels are high, people are panicking on most of the occasions, how we can evolve as the best version of ourselves.
Thank you for, first of all, the nice discussion of Brenton and the conversation initiated by you, Swaroop. I would like to first of all begin by complimenting what Venturecart is doing. I know about one library of books. Everybody knows there are plenty of libraries, and it's a good habit to have library. And there is one particular library, I think, in India that is similar to what Netherlands is doing. There's a library of humans. So a
Wow.
child walks in, there are so many people there. A child picks up one person, that person holds the child by
True.
hand, walks, gets a walk in the garden, and during that time there is a conversation, dialogue going on there. And afterwards, the child and for that gentleman come back, and then there is another child, another person. So there is simultaneously, it's a large garden, it's a big garden. So this is what's going on in MentorCart. Many mentees and mentors are aligning themselves. To give an analogy to that, it is like on the fly, you want to travel to one place A to place B. What do? You have Ola or Uber application. So MentorCart
Right.
is similar, and it's just that it is at the knowledge domain. You are picking up a person who can solve the problem not by going deep into so many books to solve the problem, but on his fingertips he has the answers. So there, that helps you to solve the problem and go further. So like COVID warriors, right now we are all
Mm.
thankful to the doctors. My daughter is a doctor, MD. She's a COVID warrior. And unmanned aerial systems are like Garud. Government of India has aspirations to use UAVs for delivery of medical supplies, and that has been already tried in different countries. During these days, even Canadian cargo is allowed, and Federal Aviation Administration is allowing the supply of material using the drones for long
Right.
distances, which otherwise could have been not possible during the regular flights time when the airspace will be congested due to flying operations. So now we
Right.
think about the difficult days when Vande Mataram flights, they bring people back. And then I want to bring your attention to a wonderful scientist similar to Albert Einstein of recent days, Newton. He faced a pandemic situation in his own life, and he had to leave London for about 18 months during 1460s. Then he was spending his time very wisely, quietly, intelligently, being away from the city, and he could bring out as many theories like laws of motion, corpuscle theory of photons, velocity of light, light dispersal on a prism into seven colors, and the Principia Mathematica. So we need to be thankful to the doctors, paramedics, and in the entire chain who are helping us to do this intellectual discussion right now. So we need to believe in our virtues, strengths, and abilities to do things and move ahead. Never look back except for taking lessons perspective. You should be doing hard work. I know about a very interesting story of a gentleman who was a lawn mower named as Mr. Hamilton in Cape Town, Africa. And there were so many surgeons, veterinary surgeons, trying to do a surgical operation on a giraffe. And it was difficult for the doctor. His skill is elsewhere, not to hold the giraffe head on the table for a long time. And he came out and then he looked at a guy who is doing a lot of work in the lawn, very agile and abilities are there. He asked him, "Can you hold this giraffe head as we do our operation?" He did it good. Later on, they tried his skills on stitching real humans, not animals, and he did it so well. Then he became mentor to 30,000 surgeons, and he served more than 30 years without applying a leave. And that is how he is emotionally involved in the work.
True.
So we need to have not only IQ, and we need to have emotional quotient, so that we are
EQ.
not just shareholders in a business, but we are stakeholders. We are a
True.
comrade in the team, and we should aim high. We should not restrict ourselves on a small target. A good scale shall not be comparing with others per se, but you need to continuously evolve and overcome previously known constraints that you have known for yourself. Well, you may be Mike Tyson, or you may be Jack Bolt, Usain Bolt. So, or John Borg, while he was number one worldwide in tennis, was spotted practicing just like our Tendulkar on the sports fields. Tendulkar was telling, I feel the sense of bat hitting the ball. I get a sense of a sound that is successful sound. And similarly, this John Borg was practicing. If I do not practice to be better than what I am, I cease to be good. So persistency at perception, preparation coupled with determined performance, no
True.
matter what hurdles come by your way, is the litmus paper for your success, measured by positive results that world would see.
True.
An Olympics contestant, I want to take this opportunity to mention about a gentleman. He was a somersault kind of a in swimsuits. They do like gym.
Hmm.
They just jump over a springboard, and accidentally his head hit that
Right.
springboard, and immediately doctors and paramedics were rushing to him for help because it was apparently cut. No bleeding seen, but it was a hit. So he just stopped them from coming and interfering in his next attempt. He made his magical somersault and fetched to himself the gold medal, something he would never have ever obtained if he would have left that opportunity and took rest and attended by the doctors. Because 4 years' time, you lose your vigor and rigor and efforts that you have put to achieve that kind of a pinnacle of glory. And a little bit of pain, no pains, no gains. You should be able to withstand pains for the future of your success and ultimate
Absolutely.
achievement.
Absolutely. Absolutely right, sir. Very well pointed out. Very well said. Uh, Life is all about learning, and learning can happen through two ways. You can learn from others' mistake, or you can learn from others' success. So, as an individual, it's up to us. It's our onus that how we take a decision. But yes, today's discussion was truly enticing one, a wonderful discussion. Extremely thankful to both the mentors because today most of the people who have attended would have come to this common conclusion that leading self is not difficult, but yes, having a proper mentor in your life is the most decisive thing that can happen to any individual. And if you download this app of mentor card, if you go to dtalk, you will get numerous wonderful mentors who are going to change the way you look at your life, and probably from here onwards your life will change forever. So thanks a lot for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time on next Saturday, wherein we would love to have you all back. Thanks a lot, mentors, for your valuable
Thank
time
you so
and
much.
your valuable discussion. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ashish
Bye.
Khare
Yeah.
and the Mental Card team. Thank you, Swaroop. Thank you,
Yes,
Brenton, for being
welcome.
a
Thank
nice
you. Yes.
co-panelist.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
It was really, really amazing. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye
fantastic.
bye. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.